Welcome to Digital to Foot Traffic. I am Kevin Shi.
And I am Scott Jensen. We are digital marketers with massive experience in running brick and mortar stores.
Join us each episode as we explore the latest digital marketing trends and uncover strategies from the best in the industry.
Today's episode is about digital marketing. It's with Cameron Urry and Gabe Thayn, who I've known and worked with for a long time. Their specialty is search marketing, SEO, and also analytics. So I've invested with them. I'm part of the partner for Adigma. Adigma does a local SEO and a local search, which promotes businesses that has a local physical address, like us, which I do self-storage, dentists, doctors, beauty clinics, etc., etc. This is quite deep in the alley of like programs and data and attributions and all that. So that's something I enjoy. So I hope you guys learn something from it and raise your level of skills with this episode. I'm still in Portugal. We're in Porto right now. Lovely place, lovely weather. The place here sunsets at 9, and although it's quite hot, close to 40 degrees, but it's very dry, so you don't really sweat. And the wine's cheap. Everything's very, very cheap. I mean, I guess if you compare my home base, Hong Kong, everything is very, very cheap. So, like I always say, if you don't have an actual business in Hong Kong, don't live in Hong Kong. Just have properties or income from Hong Kong, and you live in a cheaper, safe, nice place. There's location arbitrage, as my friend Johnny used to say it. But enjoy the episode. It's a bit technical. If you guys have any problems or any detail, feel free to ask me on my Facebook or on my LinkedIn. Thank you.
Hi, welcome to the latest episode. I have two great friends with us right now in Hong Kong. One is Cameron, one is Gabe.
Thanks for
Welcome to Hong Kong.
Thanks for having us. Great.
They're part of the Adigma team, something that I am involved in right now. We do digital marketing for local companies, like basically storage mostly right now. And what's great about Cameron and Gabe is they were part of the original Extra Space storage team, right?
Yeah.
Right. Can you give us some history and background about yourself?
Absolutely. So myself, I've been doing digital marketing for like forever, like 2002. It's been a long
2002.
time. Yeah.
Was there such thing as digital marketing? There wasn't even Google back then.
There was Google. AdWords was brand new. Paid search was a new thing. Like back then it was like display advertising and Alta Vista and old stuff, right?
Okay.
But grew up doing paid search at that time.
Okay.
Started getting into SEO and then eventually.
So back then it was Yellow Page, right?
Oh, for storage? It was all.
Yeah.
It was all Yellow.
What year did you get into self-storage?
Self-storage was 2010.
Okay, and the first company was Extra Space.
Yes.
And how many stores did they have back then?
So back then, I think they started around, it was like 600 stores.
600 stores.
Yeah.
And most of the budget were Yellow Page?
Oh yeah, we spent millions of dollars. 10 million.
And who convinced the management to stop using Yellow Page and go to digital?
So largely, I think it was like Scott, like my boss.
Okay, and you?
Yeah, and I was a part of that. And I think my part really came into, like Gabe and I part was really into performance. Like we just showed like digital can outperform Yellow Pages. And after we did that.
What was the first budget that you guys had for digital?
For digital, I mean, we were right around maybe
1 million, $500,000.
Yeah. Well, overall we had like 10 million.
No, at the beginning, the very first.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and when Scott left, how much money did you guys have for digital?
We were right around 40 million.
40 million. So from like 1 million or 10 million to 40 million, right?
Yeah. I mean, a nice part of that was probably a couple of years before we left there.
Yeah.
They took 10 million from Yellow Pages and just gave it to us because
the
performance was there.
Okay. Right. So there's no way to track, even if you track Yellow Pages, right? Even at a QR code.
Yeah, we were able to track it.
Proving that it wasn't working.
It was 5 times the cost per acquisition.
Okay. And what about you, Gabe? Can you describe something about your background?
Yeah, so I started actually in web development, creating websites and did a lot of Flash animation.
From Utah?
Yeah, from Utah.
Yeah, both from Utah.
And then I went to an agency that specialized in paid advertising and SEO and did a lot of paid advertising there. Yeah. And that's when Cameron and I started working together, around 2011, 2012, something like that.
That was the great. That was the best time in self-storage in the US because that's right after 09, right? So what I remember was back then, no banks would lend to anybody building storage.
Yep.
So everybody thought self-storage was dead. So everybody started massively discounting prices, right? And then I think one of you guys said, wait a minute, you can still raise prices to these guys.
Yep.
So you guys went the other way. You guys started raising prices despite the recession. and you guys used that money because nobody was putting in digital because it was pretty non-competitive because those guys were cutting budget all across left and right. Can you tell me how the American scene back then was 2010 was?
Yeah, so in 2008 there was a big recession.
Yeah.
And that year, like Extra Space almost went out of business.
Really?
Like it wasn't looking good for a storage business. And then
Okay.
I think it was just like the overall economy. The one thing that was really interesting is like, that's where we learned a little bit about the recession-proof.
Yeah.
Being in self-storage is great.
Straight cash flow keep on coming in.
It took a short dip, but then came back very strong. The leadership, there's very big in technology.
Yeah.
Leadership came from technology companies.
Yes.
And so they're like, we're going to embed in, go in on digital. And I think that's where things really turned around.
Okay.
Where everyone, like you said, it was very like, no one was building storage.
So
I think
even your ads were getting more attention and click-through is very high because nobody advertised.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of hesitancy in the market, so people weren't investing heavily into advertising. But going back to the places where they felt safe, like yellow pages.
Okay. Tell me something in storage that both of you guys are proud of that you guys have done, that you guys are first to do in storage in terms of your own domain.
Yeah, so I think we did a lot of really cool things.
Yeah.
I think one thing that we did very cool was we brought a lot of sophistication and complexity to a really simple business.
Yeah.
Right. The product is not that complicated, but we made it really complicated on the acquisition side, and I was like, that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
We brought in like the machine learning, like
that's way advanced. Can you like 2011, 2012? What did you guys do? You guys start segmentation, man, woman, age, mobile device, computer.
Yeah, I think we broke it down to the segments and built out like within our paid campaigns. Really granular.
Okay.
I think a lot of it was we weren't afraid to do the heavy lifting. Like to get really granular. Yeah. Like meaning like location wise.
Okay.
So we wanted to target as close to possibly as we can. Okay. And then grow out. So as far as like location targeting. Okay. Right. And so we got. To do that requires a lot of work. Mm-hmm. It's not easy because a lot of man hours to make sure. So we did the things. I think what made us really successful in those years was we did the things that no one else is going to do.
Yeah, the hard pieces, right? Where it's like you mentioned, the segmenting, being able to do hyper local targeting, being able
postal
to
code advertising.
Did
you guys
the zip code piece?
Did Google brought that to you guys, or did you guys suggest it to Google?
Google, it was kind of a collaborative. We were part of an initial alpha to be able to do zip targets.
I think we were really pushing Google to do that. Because what we had done is we pulled all the zip codes of where our customers were located.
Even for SEO?
Yeah, because we were looking at all acquisitions. Like, where do all of our customers come from?
No, for paid search, you can put zip code, I remembered.
Yeah.
But SEO, there's
But that was the newer piece.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. It came in... I mean, I've been at Extra Space for a couple of years when zip targeting was a brand new pilot that we actually participated in, and they ended up, I think, doing a case study with us about how we dealt.
So for our listener who doesn't know, you can do pay search with zip codes. You can put zip codes, and you can market only people within that zip code radius. Anybody that's outside that radius, they won't target. So there will be much less wastage.
Yeah, so that was brand new, 6 years ago. And with that came the hyper local targeting, where we were able to target not just a radius around a physical location, but also zip code element, city, and then even state and national. And be able to say, these are the value of these customers from a national view all the way down to the radius, a 2-mile radius piece. And understanding this is why I want to spend more for people who are closer to the location because they have a higher conversion rate, and so we're able to actually be willing to spend more to get those customers. And then we would slowly, reduce how much we were willing to pay as customers had lower conversion rates or kind of were farther away.
So national, state,
city, zip, and radius.
Zip, radius.
Right.
Yeah.
We came up with pretty...
The lifetime value is pretty much the same, but then the conversion rate is much higher as you get down,
it's a change of conversion rate.
So as you go down, your CTR goes way up, right? Mm-hmm. And so based on that your spending for a pay search campaign is different, right? And then you mix that with a second layer, like the urgency. When do they need it? Are they searching in the middle of the night? They need it tomorrow, or they need it 2 months later? And you start breaking it down to the size of the location or the person, or the key decision maker and all that, right?
Right. And I mean, that was the beginning, right? That, like you had mentioned, that's not some of the more hardcore, advanced machine learning pieces that we
That's for later of the interview, man. Talk about SEO, local and organic. What's the difference? How, as an operator, how can we use SEO for a benefit?
Sure. I think SEO is what we call it the golden goose, right? Okay. If you get optimized and you're ranking high, like you're going to get massive volume. That's where your big volume is going to come from. You can use your paid as the lever to really drive occupancy up or down, like as needed. Okay. With SEO, so you have two different types. You have organic SEO and local SEO. Local SEO is going to be your map listings. Yes, very highly mobile based. It's very location based, and it's specifically it's there for places that have local business.
So if I have multiple locations and I just put self-storage, and I'm in location A, the landing page will be location A of my storage. If I'm in location B, the landing page will be location B. Google does that. If I index it properly, Google will assign it accordingly, right?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. And it also gives you the ability to be on the maps.
Okay.
So, which is with mobile, it's huge. As people are like using like map apps or whatever.
I heard Pay is on the map now.
Yeah, so that's a newer piece where paid. I mean, there's been instances where it's been showing you in the maps, but now if you're doing your paid search in the right way, as well as doing really good SEO, both organic and local, you can actually have 4 instances on the landing page where you're actually at the very top of your paid app. And
is this for the map?
No. This is just for the organic search. Just the search engine results page itself. But when you're doing local businesses, there is a chunk of that, the map pack, where there's a chunk.
So you're on the PPC on the top,
paid search on the top,
and then the map in the middle,
and then the maps,
map in the middle.
Mm-hmm. But there's two pieces of the map, right? Okay. So there's the local SEO map, and there's the paid search map.
Oh, but you have to pay for that.
Yep.
Okay.
Then your paid map there, and then the 4th location is your organic listing underneath that.
So basically, your goal is to squeeze out any of your competitors that's bidding.
Yeah, right. Because you show up in all 4 spots. You look at like the total domain authority, right? And so they see even if your competitor has 2 spots on there, it's like, well, this other group has 4 different locations.
So authority-wise,
big authority play.
Is there like a trust factor there? I mean,
100%.
Okay.
Right, you're more prominent on the page. And then again, if you're doing your paid advertising correctly, especially on the mobile device, then your ad, it takes up the entire screen, right, on the mobile device with a good paid ad. Then you scroll just a little bit, and then you're in the map section, right? So you can completely dominate the mobile piece of it.
Okay, I got to ask some local audience here. How is the Hong Kong SEO scene compared to the US? Are they using local? Are they trying to dominate the map as well?
I don't think they dominated the apps, the maps. They do more on the local listing, local businessing more.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, not much working in the map.
But that's applicable here as well, right?
I'm not so sure for paid one.
Okay, something we can discuss later.
Yeah, paid. It's very interesting because historically, up until June of last year, your paid maps listing, when somebody would click on that and go through, it wasn't getting attributed to paid advertising. It was actually getting attributed to local SEO.
So you don't know.
So there was a lot of unknowns
attribution model.
Exactly. And so then in June of last year, Google started revealing those actions within your Google Ads campaign as local actions. Okay. When people are going through and clicking on the location details piece, that opens up the map that shows the website and the address and some imagery, and then even be able to report to you when people click on get directions or locations nearby. Or if you do it the right way, you can actually even track phone calls from that maps listing.
That's something we're going to get into later.
Even today, though, in the get location details piece, if somebody clicks on the URL to go to the website, still today that's getting attributed to local SEO. So you have to be able to understand and pay attention to what's going on there.
How's content play to the storage game? I'm really into storage because I'm from the storage background. Do you have to have a lot of content, relevant content? Because for me, the number one thing, storage is very boring.
It is.
Unless they talk about me or about the fire, right? Otherwise, even then it's not good. But storage is very boring, right? So it's not a car, right? It's not a new restaurant. How does the content piece plays into industry where it's a need-based business?
Yeah, I think that's a fair point because coming up with interesting content that people want to read in storage is challenging, right?
Unless it's about my personal life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you can be creative.
Yeah.
I break it down in 3 different areas.
Okay.
The first area is you want to nail your transactional keywords.
Transactional keyword, such as?
So, you want to make sure that your content is there for, like, storage, self-storage, storage plus your city or your location or your neighborhood.
So that's going to be in your content piece.
Yeah.
But make sure you don't stuff it, right?
Well, it's not so like it's in your content, but it's like your facility page. Make sure those things are there on your facility page.
Oh, okay.
And like make like on a physical location, then make your facility content interesting enough. But including those things that you'd want to show up for. Make sure like your zip code's there.
Okay.
Make sure that the neighborhoods that you
this
serve
is just
there.
Getting your basic website structure done.
Yeah.
But should you write additional content pieces like travel?
Yes. So the next part is once you have like your transactional keywords and like that content is on your site. So next part is you want to have like it's like your question terms.
Okay.
So what size space do I need?
Okay.
How big is a 10 by 10?
Okay.
Like what are the
top FAQs?
Yes.
Frequently asked questions.
Yeah. So it's like what are the questions buyers are going to be asking about your product, and then make sure you have content on your site to answer those questions.
Salesforce used to have a FAQ, and every time they generate a new FAQ, it's a separate landing page for customers. Very interesting.
Yeah.
And the third piece?
And the third piece is really going into your interest-based content.
Okay.
So what are the possible
behavior type?
Yeah. What are the things that people who would be potentially interested in your product? What are their interests? So
do you sell your storage within that content, or do you just make them aware of the service, or?
So it's helping be there so that they're aware. So when they come to a point when they need it, that you should be top of mind, or at least some level of recognition. So
but aren't you afraid you get too salesy, or it has to be educational or something?
Yeah,
like
keep
that?
it high level, keep it educational. An example is like we would build Extra Space a lot of organizational type content.
Like?
People who, it was basically like
organization tips.
Like I want
organizing.
how to organize, how to
Pinterest, I remember.
Yeah. So there's a lot of.
But they don't really convert, do they?
Well, the thing is, it drives content for when people are interested or looking for that kind of things. Like for example, we did a huge article all about RV storage and what the steps you need to take to put your RV away for 6 months.
That was a famous one.
Yeah. So that was a big piece.
We broke out basically what are the types of people that what are our top types of people that would use storage. And we said, okay, what are the things that why they would need it. We broke out, okay, life events is a big thing. So we just made a huge list of here's all the life events. And now we picked at the top 10 is like, all right, let's write content for these types of life events. Like, empty nesters, people that don't have any more kids, they don't have all of their stuff in their kids, they want to get out of their house. People going to college.
Do you call these major websites and see if they'll link to you guys, or reuse your website so you can get a boost or something? Yeah.
So you have a content plan for what you want to put on your site.
Okay.
And then as far as your outreach for your SEO, that gives you a great list of people that you can go out and start creating partnerships.
Yeah. And how do you create those partnerships?
It just starts with outreach, reaching out to them.
Okay.
Go to LinkedIn, find out who owns the sites or who's working in the marketing departments.
Okay.
And create those relationships to start doing that. And
usually, interest articles. How many people repost you guys? Maybe 5 to 50 or.
I think for us we got a pretty good rate because it was a pretty well-known brand.
Okay.
And the smaller you are, the harder it's going to be.
But I think it really depends on the category they're going for. Like using an RV as an example, if you really do find create a good piece of content there, now there is almost a community that already exists around RV.
Yeah.
Right? And so that can be something that's spread across the whole piece. It's interesting that you had mentioned, storage is boring, but, storage, people use storage, it's based off of these life events, as Cameron mentioned. And life events are a big deal.
So don't talk about storage for storage. Talk about storage blending with that life event.
Yeah, exactly. Why would you
Divorce 101.
Exactly.
Right? My kid's going to college 101.
Yeah.
Right? That's not boring. You can build a community around that.
Yeah.
Right?
And
then you implement storage within that. You embed it as part of the checklist.
One of the biggest and most successful campaigns that we had at Extra Space was about a baby. having a brand new baby.
Oh, that was good.
I mean, if you go right now,
that was a big campaign. That was 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was a few years ago. You Google search 10 things I wish I'd known before having a baby.
10 things I know I wish that got viral.
Yeah, that got viral. 2 million views.
Organic or paid?
Way more than that.
It was close to like 30, 40 million views.
Yeah, on Facebook it was.
Again, storage is boring.
Yeah.
Yes.
But people who use storage, their reason is interesting.
It's very interesting, right? Like today, I can't watch that show.
Suicide 101, right?
It's like, it's like that was some of the conversation we had. Is like, okay, because some of it was a lot of it was around brands. Like, okay, what are these life events that we want to wrap our brand around?
Yeah.
And I think that was where, okay, babies, we like that one. We'll start with that.
Any feedback or questions from Ringo or Kevin?
I just see that you will make relationship with the partner. Will you pay for them, or you have something to tempt them to work with you guys?
Incentivize.
Because the content, I mean, the transitional keywords in Hong Kong is, to be honest, each website will almost write the same topic, subtopic, all the stuff in the same the sales page. But I think the difference may be the partnership with in the back end and off the site one. Do you have any special approach that you can share?
I would say like we really approached it as partnerships, which is it wasn't like, hey, we want to post content on your website. It was more like,
you're boosting their viewership on their website because of your content as well. So it's more of a win-win.
Yeah.
Right?
So we looked at what are the places that we go out there where we can both benefit from the traffic, and it's like, okay, we'll write content that is supporting and beneficial for you. And a lot of times, like maybe it might not even have been storage related, but it was by us, right? Or on the other side, it's like there's like some co-posting opportunities as well. So and then sometimes it was what do you need for your business and how can we work together? Because not everyone's just needs share blogs. So it was more of like how can we partnership as a business, and then a lot of times it was blossomed into getting a co-blog posting relationship in place was like the first step to a larger partnership between the business.
A cool thing that I think a lot of people missed in Hong Kong that they don't know is about buying old company that has gone bankrupt. I mean, even if they close down business, if they've been around for 10 years, the link value, the backlink to their sites is worth a lot of money. And they're just, I've scooped up storage companies for like 6,000, 10,000 Hong Kong dollar when they've been around for like 10 years. And then the amount of customers they gave us because of that backlink is I've gotten at least 200 customers from those websites. Because, they're looking for ABC storage, is closed. ABC storage is closed, but SC storage is now serving their customer, blah, 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 and the rank gets higher. But what's the proper way of doing it? Just say this company's closed, you're buying their website. What would be the right way? Not just complete their redirect. Is it 401 redirect, is it?
301 redirect.
301
redirect.
So do you have to have a message there to tell them that this is no longer in operation as well?
Yeah, what we typically do is like you create a page on your site that's like, hey, if it's a redirect, this company is no longer in business, we're servicing.
But we're giving you a special discount for this.
Exactly. So you can create a special landing page for it.
So I see there's a lot of opportunities for like closing sites with their websites. Talk about a bit beyond about paid search and SEO, talk about extra space and all that. For us, like small and medium companies, what would be a glance into a big company? Like a company like those guys I was talking about, guess how many people in their marketing team? I told Ringo, I guess how many? Digital marketing team. 你估佢哋有幾多人？佢哋有1600棟樓喎。
50?
A bit less, 45.
Yeah, between there.
Just digital marketing.
I see.
So how many people in SEO? How many people in paid search?
So we had like 5 people on SEO.
Okay.
And then we had external people external teams as well.
Yeah. Okay. Paid search is about 5.
Yeah.
And then display and videos. You guys had a few people there.
Yeah, so we had some individuals there. We had individuals focused on conversion rate optimization of the website.
Yeah.
We had an experienced manager that would be able to look at the entire path from beginning of understanding what storage is all the way down to the rental process.
So for us who doesn't know what experienced manager is, once you have a digital marketing team that's 45 people, everybody's working individually. So you may say this here and you say that there. The experienced manager, who's usually a lady, make sure the whole consumer journey is one and consistent. So you don't want to say you're cheap and then you're not cheap in the remarketing. Or you're cheap, and then when a customer service representative calls you, you say something else. So the whole consumer funnel journey has to be...
You have to have the same voice and the same tone. Okay. We had a dedicated development team that would help us when we're doing specific promotions or customized ads to be able to dynamically swap pieces on the website. What is a paid search ad that had a specific promotion? We also had revenue management, data science
Revenue management, data science on the digital marketing team. Yeah. So let me guess. That would be like, in this city, we're able to reduce the cost per acquisition by 50%. And that guy would call that city, okay, raise your rent higher now because we can push those guys out because the cost of getting new customer is cheaper.
Exactly.
Something like that?
Yeah. And when another scenario is like, the revenue management team would say, we need to increase occupancy in this area or at this facility. So we're going to decrease rent or increase discounts.
And then you guys decide.
And
who decide?
The other end is like, if we can just buy another customer, it might be a higher CPA or increased cost per acquisition. It's better to buy a customer than decrease your price.
So what level do they have? They have decrease your price. That's it, right?
They have decrease your price and then your promotion.
So, advertising budget? No.
Your promotion is like first month free,
or free track. Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess his goal is to make sure you guys have the most efficient path.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Again, in self-storage, we have 3 funnels: increase your price, increase or decrease your promotion in terms of free moving or free racks, etc. Or increase your sales budget. So everything's related. So the problem I think in Hong Kong is everybody works in silo. You will hire Ringo or some guys like in marketing department, and they're doing such a good job. The revenue management people doesn't know. So they keep on. They butt heads. They butt heads, right? Yeah. So they keep on reducing prices despite them doing a good job. So there's a lot of wastage. So everything must be communicated.
I think that example of when it goes bad is like maybe when something's highly occupied. Or revenue management has decreased price. And on our side, like on our paid ads, great, conversion rate's doing amazing. And so we're continually investing in that keyword. And revenue management, like, hey, we're done. And I increase that price or get rid of the discount. And all of a sudden conversion rate drops.
Okay.
And now we're like overspending in PPC. And so if that conversion rate drops, all of a sudden we could be wasting tons of money.
We've pushed a ton of money towards something that they have intentionally reduced conversion rate on by increasing price because they're like, we're full, we don't want to spend any more here. But they didn't communicate that, or there's this silo like you're referencing, and we're seeing performance is great, and so let's push a bunch of money in there.
Do you guys monitor the trajectory or the acceleration or deceleration of each site, not just a static occupancy rate? Because even as small as us, we start doing that maybe a year ago. I don't care if the guy is like 85% full. I care how fast they got here and where they're going. So I don't want to be 85% full. I'm massively I'm 7% full. I'm massively discounting, right? And then you get tons of people coming in paying for 2 years or for a year, and they got like 50% off, and then 3 months later I'm stuck with all these people, right? Or vice versa. We're completely full. We're like 95% full, but based on historical record, the next 2 seasons will be a net outflow or net decrease, right? So you don't want to keep on raising your rent. You got to start adjusting for that. So. One thing I learned about a year ago is not to look at static occupancy rate, but to look at the trajectory of the growth, either they're growing or going down. I guess you guys talk about those things as well?
Yeah. So in all the ones, like when we work on storage, we're looking at occupancy rates, but many times this is one, like the tools that we built is looking at what is occupancy over time. And when do we need to lean into a property and not? And using math to basically tell us if this is a bad trajectory or an expected trajectory. And so we have these focus property lists and pretty complex formulas that say this is when buy a facility when we should be worried about something or not.
Okay. What can a small guy do? Like just say you might not even be like a storage operator. What can like a guy for dentist? He owns a chain of 10. A lot of things you guys talked about involve a lot of money, a lot of stores. Just say if I have 15 dentistry or doctor's office, what's some of the low-hanging fruits for us in terms of digital marketing, SEO, pay?
Yeah, I think that this create a very, a heavy segmented piece of understanding, like what are the keywords I'm going to bid on, what are keywords that I think are going to be, our customers are saying, I need teeth whitening today versus dentist near me, right? And so that's just one segment that you can create where you can do that, 100 times, and then be able to say, this is how performance is broken out by all these different terms or these keywords or the location that individuals are coming from. And then to your point, where we have instances of data scarcity, I don't have enough numbers to make good decisions, then like you're saying, if you build out your structure and your campaigns appropriately, you'll be able to kind of take a step back and say, this whitening keyword is a good term and has a little bit of volume for this one location, but if you take one step back and say, for all 15 locations, teeth whitening is one of my biggest pieces across everything, so that almost gives you this individual optimization that can be done using aggregate data, and then say teeth whitening is actually our most important piece. Who knew, right? And so let's push a bunch of spend.
So do you agree that you should merge your data or data sharing with non-competitive operators? People
even if you can identify places of competition, right? Because with these location-based businesses, there's instances where competition overlaps, but oftentimes when there's some overlap, most of your customers are coming from a 2 to 3 mile radius, right? And so it's not even necessary competition.
I heard a funny story, and I think we can say it here, is price fixing is illegal, but you can encourage people to raise prices on a regular basis. So the big REITs or the big operators have these seminars and tell them, hey, this guy, I raise his rent, no problem, he still pays. That guy, I raise his rent, no problem. And then you have a lot of subliminal messages in the back with like arrows pointing up and all that, right? So you're not really price fixing, but you're just encouraging people, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that's the most impact. If everybody raises prices, everybody makes money. No problem, right?
I think just to add the comment with the data pieces. I think one of the common issues I find with data anyway, like most of the time, is use the data that you have. I think that's one of the hardest things. Like most people don't. Well, if they do have data, they don't really know what to do with it. And so I think everyone has some level of data. Max out what you can do, or come up with a plan and figure it out. And
time. I mean, sure, you only have 5 or 10 facilities, but you have time. Why don't you start collecting data the right way right now, and then you can 5 years later or 3 years later you can look back. It's either the size of your platform or the length of time you have, right? Both of them allows you to get enough data. Sure, the world changes, but some things stay constant, right?
There's a lot, and there's a lot of interesting data you can get. Like once you max out what you can do with your digital marketing with the data you have, you can expand. Put the things in place now to start tracking down the road. Also, one more thing is there's a lot of external data sources out there. So like one thing, like in the US we have census data. So like before we had a ton of data, it was like we wanted to know more about the communities and things around where we have locations. Okay. So that was non-storage data that we could easily
what kind of data did you use that was applicable?
Like
population?
It gives you the population density. It shows you it goes into like breakdowns age, there. It gives you like income breakdowns. And there's a lot of information that's out there in publicly available data sets that you can start using to make your marketing more advanced.
One thing I think you said that was really important is getting your data the right way.
That's what I want to get. I know a lot of older people, I think Ringo would agree. Oh, I've been around for 20 years. We have 100,000 customers. I'm Mr. Big Data. Well, no, you're not Mr. Big Data. You collected all your data wrongly all these years, man. Oh, you got what? Hong Kong ID and a telephone number, and they changed the number to email you won't even know, right? So they think they have a lot of data, and a lot of people pretend to sell something to them in Hong Kong with the data, but it's not later. How can you collect data the right way 20 years ago? Give me a break, right? Right? The technology wasn't there.
It wasn't there, and I mean it's funny because 6 years ago the keyword, the big term was big data, big data. And so people were just scooping as much data as they could, and then not being able to say, I don't know what to do with this data, they weren't doing it the right way. I think
is there any recovery? There's not, like, you have to set up your procedures and everything correctly.
You have to set it up correctly to get
otherwise it's junk.
Because, and that's, I think, one thing that makes us very unique with the business that we do is we structure everything incredibly segmented. We want as many slices of the data as you can get, because you can always roll up. You can always kind of group and gather data together if it has like terms and measurements.
So how do you segment your data? Can you give me an example?
And so we kind of shared a little bit at the beginning. We were talking about a lot of geographic breakdowns.
Okay.
Is a huge piece of it.
Okay.
As well as for our structure, we focus on the intent of the customer.
Okay.
And the kinds of terms.
Where they've been, where they're going.
That's part of it, right?
Okay.
But it's also what are they searching for?
Okay.
We gave the example of somebody searching for storage versus somebody searching rent self-storage today.
Yeah.
That urgency, that need,
Yeah.
that right there is two different types of people.
Okay.
And if you don't create your account structure to be able to segment that, you'll never know that. And so one of the things that's very unique to our business is we've actually built tools that, if you were to come to me today and say, Gabe, I have 1,000 locations, I want to start doing paid advertising, I can tell you we can go active tomorrow because of the tools and software that we've created that builds out this entire structure that's incredibly segmented, but also takes into account all the variable elements
that's the power
that are unique. Exactly. That's the power of Adigma. They can say, this is all the unique elements and pieces that a facility needs, and then we can optimize on top of that unique pieces. But what's great about this way that we create everything is the data goes in clean, and we make Google do the cleaning for us.
So if some guy tells you that they have 100,000 telephone numbers with their name on it, and they're Mr. Big, and they want to pay you to make data on it, you can't do much, right?
Well, I mean,
except
not necessarily. I mean, what we would do instantly is actually take those phone numbers. If it was an email list, a big email list, we could take that information and then we could load it into our system and be able to do some remarketing or advertising on that. Yeah. And then it's almost like we could clean the data for him based off of the way those individuals or people like those individuals respond to our remarketing ads. We would again kind of put it right into our filing system where we force Google to do the clean for us. Then we can look at all that data, do some really good analysis.
How many different emails or websites personalization do you think you have? Again, I think I asked you that. That's you don't have a finite number because it's all machine, right?
Yeah, it's all machine based where you define these profiles, right?
Different.
I mean, when we're looking at 1,600 locations, we're talking hundreds and hundreds of profiles.
So each email is specifically personalized for that person. Each website landing page is specific just for maximizing for the
we and what's great is you can be able to take those data points and you can identify similarities, right? Where you can say, yes, we have 10,000 emails and 500 of these people are really interested about this piece. Yeah. And that's how you can kind of take advantage of the scale of that. Is you send those 500 individuals, it's unique to them in regards to their names and those kinds of pieces, but you have similar messaging because that's what that group is.
Let me ask you a question that's very related to storage. Mm-hmm. What kind of digital exhaust or things you can track them off online that tells you they're a very sentimental person? They cannot let go of things besides massively raising their rents. Like what kind of things? I mean, me and Scott were thinking about animal games. What animal are you? Blah blah blah. Right? And then there's some psychology, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think you get some data points on age is actually a big piece.
Okay.
They can lean on heavily as to whether or not somebody's sentimental, right? Older people. Yeah. And we're going to be at the conference next week sharing this kind of information where we say, older individuals, when we're talking about their stuff, for old people, it's not their stuff, it's their treasures, it's their belongings.
So don't talk about your treasures. Don't mention what treasures to the sales team in SE Storage because we're going to raise your rent.
Yeah, exactly, right? And then you can also tell, if you have a system in place to not necessarily kind of inventory all the things that they're bringing in, but when you're talking to them about what kind of stuff you're looking to store, larger things, you don't necessarily need sentimentality.
Oh, my mother's stuff.
Yeah, exactly. My mother's stuff.
These are like major keywords.
Yeah, or I'm going to be storing a piece of furniture. They're going to stick around longer than a person who has 5 boxes. Yeah, just because it's a pain in the butt to move a couch.
On your website, you have
I had a thesis that probably should get me a PhD on storage because I've broken the traditional old school understanding of email marketing, and I told Scott about this. As traditionally, it's set and forget. Get them on auto pay. Don't remind them. No Merry Christmas, no Happy New Year because they're gonna say, "Hey man, I'm storing with you for so long," right? And they're gonna leave. But I say no. That's not the way we're in the digital age. First of all, you get to see if they're sentimental or not by treasures or by playing the animal game. We actually had an animal game in SE Storage. What animal are you, right? Yeah. To classify if you're sentimental or not. And then comes around Christmas time, we send a bunch of people Merry Christmas, just once. and then we see where they open their IP. Oh, whoop, they're in Shanghai. Come Happy New Year, we open again. Whoop, it's been a week and they're still in Shanghai. So A, they're sentimental. B, they can't get back to get their stuff.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Massively raise their rent. So again, I like storage because there's a lot of fun data you can use.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me some of the things that Adigma is doing besides storage. Basic offering you guys doing local SEO, organic SEO, paid search, phone tracking, and revenue management. Can you guys describe some of each and how you guys are different?
Sure thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so local SEO. So first, like local and organic SEO. We break those out because local SEO is very much, it's localized, hyper-local, managing with like the Google My Business, and all the different citations.
The websites are correct.
Yeah, making sure like your name, address, your phone number is correct across.
The speed?
Everything. And so the speed really focus on an organic SEO.
Okay.
It's much more like structural and
AMP?
Yes.
Yeah.
And making sure like all the content is good and relevant, and a lot of it then becomes like after you have like your core website just optimized, you got it. It's running fast. It's mobile optimized. That mobile experience is fast. Yeah. You want to typically it's like on a 3G connection loading within 3 seconds.
Yeah. Okay.
Then it's really big on content and expand your content, and then externals is like external link building.
Okay. I mean, to step in a little bit here, Cameron's very humble about this piece, but you bring up AMP, right, where it's a whole new format for mobile to optimize for speed.
Yeah.
Cameron was one of the first to take a site from not having anything like that to be fully AMP. It was a PWI.
It was AMP and PWA, so Progressive Web App.
Yeah, Progressive.
So AMP stands for Accelerated Mobile Pages.
Yes.
So we're one of the first guys in storage to do it.
Yeah.
And so, after talking to you guys.
And so PWA. So
what's PWA?
Right. So PWA is Progressive Web App. So AMP is basically how to get your site loading under a second with first interaction. Yeah. PWA is second interaction.
Okay. And which one ranks higher? Both.
Yeah, both are very great because then every interaction, like every page load after the first one, PWA basically loads instantly.
Okay. Yeah.
But it also creates basically like a mini app on your phone, so you can do like push notifications and all kinds of, and even an offsite, an offline ability.
It's not an app, so even if they've been to your website, if it's AMP or PWA enabled, and you say, we'll let you know when there's a storage available, you can push a notification on your mobile site. On your mobile phone.
Yeah, you can push notification, and even like people who are your customers, you can push notification to your current customers. Yeah. And it actually does install what we call a service worker. So it's a small app on your phone. Yeah. So you can, like it has a button on your screen.
Yeah. It looks like an app.
And it will operate offline.
Wow.
Yeah. Nice. And so, I mean, we did, self-storage.
You don't have to have scale for this. You can just do your website accordingly, and that's it, right?
Yeah. Right. So after our 600 locations, we went and did hotels, 150,000 locations. Yeah. And Cameron did the PWA AMP pieces for this group that we were with, and actually they were one of the very first with that level of scale
to be able to have
the full piece.
Working together.
To have them working together. Okay. And at Google I/O that year, Cameron was featured. His work was featured at Google I/O as the first. So
you're featured in a nice way. I'm featured in a bad way. And how's paid search? I guess you guys use DoubleClick?
Yeah, so we're a DoubleClick search or Google Ads 360 now, right? Google Search 360. We're a partner with them, and we basically our paid advertising is all about high segmentation data.
How can an operator with their own budget, just say 15, 20 locations, gave all the budget to you guys? I heard from Scott, you guys can either reduce cost, CPA, by 30%.
For sure.
Or increase customer finding by 30% or more.
Yeah.
How do you guys do it? Do you guys DoubleClick?
Yeah, so DoubleClick's a big part of it where, they help with some of the bidding pieces. They're making bid adjustments 4 times a day. Yeah. But, we enable them to be able to do that level of granularity based off of our structure. Yeah. How we read
so that's a proprietary
structure. It's a proprietary piece, right? Yeah. Where, we actually just had a group that had 40 locations that had just an old paid advertising campaign. Yeah. And they were doing all right. We implemented our entirely new structure. Yeah. And this is before we even put them on DoubleClick, and we were able to cut their CPAs in half and double their conversions.
Wow.
And that's just by doing our new structure, our new tool, which is, like I said, give us your location information, and in a day I can turn around a full new account structure, and it was double the performance.
So you're going to do that for me soon, right?
Yeah. Exactly. So that's a big piece on the paid search is organizing everything to be the data. It's all about the data, and so that's when we talk paid search. That's really a big piece of our bread and butter is to be able to gather all this data to make really awesome decisions.
Cool. And the third piece would be phone tracking. Can you talk about that?
So phone tracking is a big piece as well where, again, all about the data and attribution to be able to segment customers. We have it set up so that when somebody does a phone call on the website, or rather, when somebody does a Google search and then clicks on one of the ads and goes to your landing page, we have a dynamic number that swaps to be just a number that shows only when someone comes via paid search.
Yeah.
And then when they make that call, it redirects to their original number. But from there, we actually take every single call and we transcribe it so that it's readable as text. And then we lay on top of it machine learning to identify and pick out certain parts of that conversation to say if that's a sales call, a service call, identify other elements within that conversation to say or classify a customer. And then we take those sales calls that are identified via machine learning and feed that back into our digital marketing campaigns so we understand at the keyword level what terms are driving that offline call interaction. And then we bid uniquely on all of those pieces. And so it's a huge piece, especially in the storage space where anymore 65 to 70% of your volume is mobile. Yeah. Mobile has a higher propensity of calling. And so it's gotten to the point now where the majority of our rentals are coming from the phone, and we're able to identify those sales calls, bid those uniquely, and then drive even more sales calls.
Question.
Sure.
You use phone tracking, people call in from this word, and then they're probably their sex and maybe their age. Let's say he's an older man. And then you use machine learning or what do you call that machine to listen to the words I use, and they mention the word treasure 5 times. And then they continue to rent, and then you email them a Christmas card, and then they're not where they are. They're overseas all the time. Can you contact the revenue management department to raise their rent more than usual?
Sure. Let's take it all up.
That's probably.
And that's just one piece, right? Another part of the revenue management model is what we call price sensitivity.
Yeah.
Where
or the bargain hunter.
If we raise it too many times, this persona, this type of customer can handle 5 rent increases before they get too upset. So we give them 4.5 rent increases. Yeah. And then
some of the key words that they use, right, is like, well, fuck you, right? Okay, reduce, right?
High pricing.
So and again, this is very interesting. And the last piece is revenue management. I think that's the golden goose in self-storage because we all want to know how much to raise rents, what to raise rents. And there's three buttons I heard you guys have. You can optimize revenue based on yield, based on occupancy level, or based on cash flow or something like that. So you can get as much money as possible, right? So can you explain about that?
Sure. You want to optimize per yield when you're looking at revenue management. Yeah. And a lot of the revenue management systems out there today usually look at your rental velocity, and how fast are you losing and how fast are you gaining, and the disparity between those. And then the second part is looking at your occupancy. Okay. And this is the same problem that we ran into when we saw a lot of the paid search management tools like Kinju or DoubleClick, those ones. They're trying to make predictions of future performance based off of incomplete data. Yeah. And we talked a little bit about before, you have to look at more pieces to predict the future. Yeah. And that's where I think our approach to revenue management does. Yeah. Because we're looking at what are all the pieces that drive rental, not just what's your occupancy. And so with the revenue management, we really want to drive the yield because
but there's options for them, right? They can select for occupancy.
And I think it really depends on where the business is at and how not really sophistication, but what are the needs of the business and the needs of the individual facilities because they can largely vary. Yeah. So it's very based off of.
And this is based on your other proprietary data that you have among other customers, right?
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I think one thing that's unique about the revenue piece is a lot of small operators, they know what their occupancies are, right? They know what the competition is charging. Yeah. And so that's all that they use to do the revenue management, and they make their adjustments or their changes if they're very diligent, maybe once a week, but it's usually once a month or maybe once a quarter that they're actually making price adjustments and things to compete. Whereas on our side, we not only take that data, but we also layer on top of it, geographical information and details. And then one thing that makes us very unique is we can pull in all of our very, complex marketing pieces and layer that on top of the revenue management.
Usual operators in US list their pricing online, or do you have to call? What's the general?
They usually have listed online.
So is there like
there are services
that you scrape people's listing and then you
so you can build your own scraper, but there's actually plenty of services that kind of give you that insight as well. Cool. But what I'm saying on top of that is, yes, people take those initial pieces of data, but we're saying, there's all these other elements of data, and then let's marry in the marketing data. That's what nobody else has.
So the marketing data is the CPA.
How much CPA, you have, conversion rates,
customer behavior,
and
then your customer's pricing and our customer occupancy rate. You merge that into one per day.
Yeah, and then instead of doing that once a day, once a week, once a quarter, we're doing it nonstop.
Yeah,
intraday, to be able to say, this individual's coming in, and based off of all the data points that we have, we can actually increase the rate for this guy coming in.
Wow.
Before he even hits the page, it's like, we know he has a higher lifetime value, so let's give him a promotion.
Just to lure them in.
Exactly. This is a student who's only going to rent for 3 months. Let's double the price. We don't want this person.
I think we should talk about more of this in the expo.
So that's a whole other piece.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to Digital to Foot Traffic. Join our mailing list at digitaltofoottraffic.com for more of our digital insights and strategies.
Leave us a review on iTunes or your favorite Android apps and subscribe so we'll show you the second we launch a new episode.